Commander Kalenvar stared at the endless void of space through the Stardust Drifter's main viewport. His posture was perfect, as always, back straight, hands clasped behind him, antennae perfectly still, but his inner eyelids flickered with fatigue. This Border Patrol assignment was, like most Xylosian fleet duties, meticulously planned, thoroughly regulated, and utterly devoid of excitement, which was exactly how the Xylosian mercantile fleet preferred it. "Commander," Sub-Officer Tyrell called from the communication station. "I'm detecting a distress signal, sir. Very weak. Coming from the unexplored region near the Shard asteroid belt." Kalen's antennae twitched with mild interest. Probably just cosmic interference, or an ancient automated beacon from some long-forgotten probe. The Shard belt was notorious for strange electromagnetic anomalies. "Run a full diagnostic on the receiver array," he ordered. "It's likely a false reading." "Already completed, sir. The signal is genuine." Tyrell's voice had an unusual edge to it. "It contains a biosign. Someone's alive out there." First Officer Veldon approached Kalen quietly. "Sir, protocol dictates we log the coordinates and forward them to Central Command for evaluation. The Shard Belt is outside our jurisdiction, and the Trade Council has not authorized exploration initiatives in that sector." Kalen knew Veldon was right. Xylosians had thrived for millennia by following procedures, avoiding unnecessary risks, and maintaining the careful order that had made them respected merchants and diplomats across the Alliance. Yet something made him hesitate. "How strong is the biosign?" he asked. "Fading, sir," Tyrell responded. "Whoever it is, they don't have much time." Veldon leaned closer. "Sir, with all due respect, diverting from our patrol route would require extensive documentation and could potentially result in disciplinary. Plot an intercept course," Kalen ordered, surprising himself as much as his crew. "Notify medical to prepare for a potential emergency retrieval." "Commander?" Veldon's antennae stiffened in shock. "We have an obligation to render assistance to vessels in distress," Kalen said firmly. "It's not just Alliance law. It's one of the oldest spacefaring traditions." "Yes, sir," Veldon replied, clearly disapproving but too disciplined to argue further. As the Stardust Drifter changed course, Kalen wondered what had compelled his decision. Perhaps it was the monotony of recent patrols. Perhaps it was a rare moment of sentimentality. Whatever the reason, his comfortable routine was about to be disrupted. He had no idea just how severely. The Stardust Drifter carefully navigated through the dangerous debris field of the Shard Belt. What they found was barely recognizable as a spacecraft, more a collection of ruptured hull fragments held together by emergency force fields, with its life support systems running on backup power. "One life form detected," reported Security Officer Nax. "Atmosphere severely compromised. Temperature dropping. Bring it into Cargo Bay 3, Kalen ordered. "Medical team, standing by." Through the observation window, Kalen watched as his crew brought the lone survivor aboard. He was surprised to see it was a human, rare in this part of space. The being was unconscious but alive, dressed in what appeared to be civilian research attire. When a human regained consciousness 2 hours later in the medical bay, Kalen was there to interview the survivor. "My name is Alex Ryder," the human said, voice still rough from dehydration. "Independent archaeologist. I was investigating rumored ancient technology in the Shard Belt when my ship was damaged by an unexpected asteroid collision." The human smiled weakly. "I owe you my life, Commander." Not many would have responded to a distress call in that region. There was something odd about the human that Kalen couldn't quite place. Alex's gratitude seemed genuine, but there was an underlying tension in the human's body language. "The Stardust Drifter follows all interstellar protocols, including rescue operations," Kalen replied formally. "We'll return you to the nearest Alliance outpost where you can arrange transport home." "That would be wonderful," Alex said, perhaps a bit too enthusiastically. "I'm sure Earth's consular services can help me from there." As Kalen left the medical bay, he found Veldon waiting outside. "The human story doesn't add up," Veldon said quietly. "Archaeological survey ships have specific configurations. What we retrieved was a modified escape pod from a much larger vessel. Keep monitoring the human, Kalen instructed, discreetly. But remember, Veldin, whoever Alex Rider is, our responsibility is to provide safe transport to Alliance space. Yes, Commander. But I believe you should know, we've received a message from High Command. They've expressed concern about our detour. Kalen's antennae drooped slightly. File A. Full report explaining the humanitarian nature of our actions. Cite Alliance Rescue Statute 47B. Already done, sir. But this may affect your promotion review next cycle. Kalen straightened his uniform. Then it will. Now let's get back on course. 3 days later, as the Stardust drifter approached the border of Alliance space, Kalen was on the bridge when the proximity alarm sounded. Unidentified vessel approaching at high velocity, Tyrell announced. They're on an intercept course. Defensive posture, Kalen ordered. Shields at maximum. The vessel that appeared on their view screen was sleek, heavily armed, and unmistakable. A Cathar Empire battle cruiser, its hull covered in the distinctive red and black markings that had become synonymous with aggression throughout the galaxy. They're hailing us, Tyrell said, voice tight with tension. Kalen nodded. On screen, the image of a Cathar commander filled the view screen. The reptilian species was intimidating even through a communication display. Scales gleaming under harsh lighting, vertical pupils narrowed to slits, voice modulator translating their hissing language. Xylosian vessel. The Cathar commander began without preamble. You are carrying dangerous contraband that belongs to the Empire. Surrender the human you rescued, and you will be permitted to continue your journey unharmed. Kalen maintained his composure, though his hearts were racing. Greetings, Cathar vessel. I am Commander Kalen Var of the Xylosian Mercantile Fleet ship Stardust Drifter. We have no contraband aboard. We rescued a human archaeologist from a disabled vessel as per Alliance rescue protocols. The Cathar commander's scaled lips pulled back to reveal serrated teeth. The human is a fugitive who has stolen military secrets. Surrender the thief immediately, or we will consider your vessel complicit in espionage against the Empire. Kalen glanced at Veldin, whose antennae were practically vibrating with anxiety. Under Alliance law, Kalen replied carefully, any rescued individual falls under the protection of the rescuing vessel until delivered to proper authorities. We are bound for Alliance Station Gamma 7, where any legitimate claims can be processed through diplomatic channels. Alliance laws do not apply in this matter, the Cathar hissed. This is a direct military concern of the Empire. You have 1 hour to comply, or we will take action. The communication ended abruptly. Sir, Veldin said immediately, we must contact High Command for instructions. Already doing so, Kalen replied, but a response will take time. Prepare the ship for potential evasive maneuvers, and bring our guest to the bridge. When Alex arrived, the human's face paled at the sight of the Cathar cruiser on the view screen. They found me, Alex whispered. It appears your archaeological work has upset the Cathar Empire, Kalen said dryly. They're demanding we hand you over as a thief of military secrets. Alex looked desperately around the bridge, then at Kalen. Commander, I haven't been entirely truthful with you, but I swear I'm not a criminal. If you hand me over to them, it won't just be my death. It could mean war. Explain. Quickly. I'm not an archaeologist. I'm an engineer working for Earth's Defensive Technologies Division. I developed an adaptive cloaking system that could revolutionize space warfare. The Cathar kidnapped me from a research outpost, but I managed to escape with the core data. Alex tapped a spot just below the collarbone. It's implanted in me. That's what they want. Kalen's antennae flattened against his head. And you thought it wise to withhold this information? I didn't know if I could trust you, Alex admitted. The Cathar have infiltrators everywhere. A message alert sounded, and Tyrell turned from the communications console. Sir, High Command acknowledges our situation, but advises immediate compliance with the Cathar demands to avoid diplomatic incidents. They state that a single human's welfare is not worth risking Xylosian lives or trade agreements. Kalen felt the weight of command bearing down on him. The logical choice was clear: surrender the human and continue their mission. It was the prudent path, the Xylosian way. Yet something about the situation felt profoundly wrong. The Cthar were notorious for their expansionist ambitions and disregard for other species' sovereignty. If Alex was telling the truth, handing over this technology could tip the balance of power in the galaxy. "How long until they expect our answer?" he asked. 47 minutes, sir," Veldon replied. Kalen turned to his navigation officer. "Plot a course through the Cantor Nebula. It's unstable, but the electromagnetic interference should mask our signature temporarily." "Sir," Veldon's voice was sharp with shock. "That directly contradicts High Command's instructions." "I'm aware, First Officer, but we represent the Xylosian Mercantile Fleet, which operates under Alliance humanitarian laws. I will not surrender a rescued individual to potential execution without due process." Kalen turned to face his crew. "I take full responsibility for this decision. Anyone who wishes to register an official objection may do so now." The bridge remained silent, though Kalen could see the mixture of fear and uncertainty on every face. "Prepare for emergency FTL jump," he ordered. "Maximum acceleration on my mark." The Stardust Drifter's engines screamed in protest as the ship lurched into FTL speed, narrowly evading the Cthar cruiser's attempt to lock on with a tractor beam. The sudden jump into the nebula's swirling gases rocked the ship violently. "Hull integrity at 92%, reported Engineering Officer Luron. "The nebula's radiation is affecting our shields, but we should be able to maintain this course for approximately 3 hours before systems begin to fail." Alex gripped a console to stay upright during the turbulence. "Commander, thank you. Not many would take such a risk for a stranger." "Don't thank me yet," Kalen replied grimly. "We're now fugitives from both the Cthar Empire and potentially my own government. We need a plan beyond simply running." "I need to contact Earth," Alex said urgently. If they knew what was happening, they could help. Veldon gave a short, skeptical laugh. "Humans are barely a recognized spacefaring species. What could Earth possibly do against the Cthar Empire?" Alex smiled thinly. "You'd be surprised. We're young as a galactic civilization, but we've learned to be resourceful. And we're very protective of our own." Kalen considered their options. "Once we exit the nebula, we can make for the gray zone. The trading station there isn't officially within any territorial jurisdiction. We might be able to send a secure communication to Earth from there." As the Stardust Drifter emerged from the Cantor Nebula, its systems recovering from the strain, Kalen called a meeting of his senior officers. "I want to be clear about our situation," he began. "By refusing the Cthar demand and disobeying High Command's recommendation, I have potentially placed this ship and all of you in jeopardy. Our actions may be construed as insubordination at best, and as an act of war at worst." He looked at each officer in turn. "Any one of you who wishes to disavow my decisions may do so in your personal logs. I will ensure those records reach High Command." Security Officer Nax spoke first. "With respect, Commander, if you're going down for this, we're going down with you. The Cthar have no right to demand we hand over anyone we've rescued." There were murmurs of agreement, though Kalen noted Veldon's conspicuous silence. "Very well," Kalen continued. "Our immediate goal is to reach Gray Station and establish secure communications with Earth authorities. Alex has agreed to provide technical assistance to enhance our communications encryption. And what if the Cthar track us to Gray Station?" Veldon finally asked. "They're not known for respecting neutral territories when in pursuit of their objectives." "That's why we'll need to be quick," Kalen replied. "In and out within one standard cycle. Just long enough to send the message and resupply." As the officers dispersed to their duties, Alex approached Kalen privately. "Commander, there's something else you should know. The technology one developed, it's not just a cloaking system. It's an entirely new approach to phase shifting that could render conventional shield systems obsolete. In the right hands, it could prevent countless deaths in conflict zones by making surprise attacks nearly impossible. In the wrong hands, it becomes the ultimate first strike weapon," Kalen finished. "No wonder the Cthar want it so badly." Alex nodded grimly. "The prototype data is fragmented and encrypted within my implant. Even if they captured me, It would take them years to reverse engineer it without the decryption keys, which only exist on a secure server back on Earth. Then we need to make sure you get back there, Kalen said. For everyone's sake. Gray Station hung in space like a tarnished coin, its once shining hull now pitted and discolored from centuries of minimal maintenance. Its neutrality wasn't born of noble diplomatic principles, but of its stubborn refusal to align with any major power, and the fact that no one considered it worth the trouble of conquering. As the Stardust Drifter docked, Kalen issued strict orders. Minimal crew rotation for essential supplies only, no mention of their Kthar encounter to anyone, and a communications blackout except for the single encrypted message they needed to send. In a secure communications booth deep within the station, Alex worked furiously to establish a connection with Earth's United Earth Defense Command, while Kalen stood guard outside. "It's done," Alex said when he emerged. 30 minutes later, "I've transmitted our coordinates, situation report, and a complete data package on the Kthar threat. Now we wait for a response." They didn't have to wait long. Just 4 hours later, as the Stardust Drifter was preparing to depart Gray Station, a high-priority message arrived on a frequency Alex had specified. Kalen, Alex, and the senior officers gathered in the ship's conference room to view the transmission. The UEDC officer who appeared on screen was stern-faced, wearing a uniform that seemed simultaneously primitive and oddly advanced to Kalen's eyes. "This message is for Commander Kalen Var of the Xylosian vessel Stardust Drifter and for Dr. Alex Ryder. On behalf of the United Earth Government, I thank you, Commander, for your honorable actions in rescuing and protecting our citizen. Your courage in defying the unlawful demands of the Kthar Empire exemplifies the highest traditions of spacefaring conduct." The officer's expression hardened. In response to the Kthar Empire's piratical actions against Dr. Ryder, their illegal attempt to seize a Xylosian vessel conducting humanitarian rescue operations, and their long history of territorial aggression against Earth colonies, the United Earth Government has issued the following statement to all major galactic powers and the Alliance Assembly. The Kthar Empire's actions constitute an act of war against Earth and a violation of Alliance laws regarding the treatment of vessels engaged in rescue operations. As of 0800 Universal Standard Time, Earth has formally declared a state of limited warfare against the Kthar Empire, with the primary objectives of ensuring the safe return of Dr. Alex Ryder and the crew of the Stardust Drifter, and holding the Kthar accountable for their aggressive actions. Stunned silence filled the conference room. Veldon was the first to speak. "They're declaring war? Over us." His antennae were practically rigid with shock. "Humans don't have the military capacity to challenge the Kthar." Alex didn't seem surprised, merely grim. "The UEDC has been looking for a justification to confront the Kthar for years. They've been raiding our outer colonies, interfering with our trade routes, and testing our defenses. This was just the final provocation they needed." The UEDC officer continued. "A rapid response tactical fleet has already been dispatched to your coordinates. Estimated arrival is within 36 hours. Until then, you are advised to remain at Gray Station if safe, or proceed to these alternative coordinates if you believe your position has been compromised. Further instructions will follow upon rendezvous. Earth stands with you. UEDC out." As the transmission ended, the Xylosian officers erupted into concerned discussion. Kalen raised a hand for silence. "This development is unexpected," he said carefully, "but it doesn't change our immediate situation. The Kthar are still searching for us, and now we have confirmation that help is coming." "Help?" Veldon repeated incredulously. "Commander, with all due respect, Earth has just dragged us into the middle of an interstellar war. This goes far beyond a simple rescue mission now. We need to contact Xylosian High Command immediately." "And tell them what?" asked Navigation Officer Selen. "That we disobeyed direct orders, fled from a Kthar warship, and now Earth is fighting a war over us. They'll order us to surrender to the Kthar immediately to prevent further diplomatic incidents." Kalen knew Selen was right. The Xylosian government would prioritize neutrality and trade stability over the safety of one ship and crew, especially a crew that had broken protocol so dramatically. We will continue as planned, Kalen decided. Gray Station is no longer safe. Too many ears and eyes. We'll proceed to the coordinates provided by Earth and rendezvous with their fleet. And then what? Veldon demanded. Become soldiers in Earth's war? Then we find a solution that ensures our safety and prevents this conflict from escalating further, Kalen replied firmly. One step at a time, First Officer. As they departed Gray Station, Kalen couldn't shake the feeling that he had set in motion events far beyond his control. What had begun as a simple rescue had somehow escalated into the first human Cathar war. And somehow, his small trade vessel was at the center of it all. For 3 generations, Xylosians had carefully maintained neutrality in galactic politics, positioning themselves as the traders and diplomats of the Alliance rather than warriors. Now Kalen had inadvertently positioned his ship, and potentially his species, on the front lines of a conflict between an ancient empire and an unpredictable newcomer to galactic affairs. As the Stardust Drifter journeyed toward the rendezvous coordinates, Kalen received a private message from Xylosian High Command. He read it alone in his quarters, his antennae drooping, progressively lower with each paragraph. The message was diplomatic but clear. His actions were deemed regrettably inconsistent with Xylosian crisis management protocols. He was officially relieved of command, pending a formal review upon his return to Xylosian space. The message concluded with a thinly veiled suggestion that surrendering to the Cathar and formally apologizing might partially mitigate the severity of the disciplinary consequences. Kalen had expected this, but the reality still stung. 80 cycles of exemplary service, erased by one decision. He hadn't told his crew yet they needed to focus on survival, not his career prospects. A chime at his door interrupted his brooding. "Enter," he called. Alex stepped inside, looking uncomfortable. "Your communications officer mentioned you received a message from your homeworld. Bad news, I take it." "Nothing unexpected," Kalen replied, straightening his posture. "How are the modifications to the shield generators progressing?" "Almost complete. Your engineers are quick learners." Alex hesitated. "Look, I know what this is costing you. If there was any other way—" "There isn't," Kalen interrupted. "We make our choices and live with the consequences. I don't regret mine." Alex nodded slowly. "For what it's worth, Earth won't forget what you've done. Neither will I." Before Kalen could respond, the ship's alert system activated. "Commander to the bridge," Tyrell's voice announced over the intercom. "We have multiple vessels approaching." When Kalen and Alex arrived at the bridge, the tactical display showed 5 ships moving in formation toward their position. "Thar?" Kalen asked tensely. "Negative," Nax replied, surprise evident in his voice. "Configuration doesn't match any known Cathar vessel class. They appear to be Earth ships." Moments later, the lead vessel hailed them. The face that appeared on the view screen belonged to a human female with close-cropped hair and the insignia of an Earth fleet commander. "Stardust Drifter, this is Commander Shepard of the UEDC Special Task Force Chimera. We're here to escort you to safety." Alex stepped forward, relief evident on his face. "Commander Shepard, Dr. Alex Ryder. Your arrival is perfectly timed." "Dr. Ryder," Shepard acknowledged with a nod. "And you must be Commander Var. Your actions have earned you quite a reputation at UEDC headquarters." "We appreciate the assistance," Kalen replied formally. "Though I must note that my government has not authorized any military cooperation with Earth forces." A slight smile crossed Shepard's face. "Understood, Commander. Consider us merely providing protective transit for a vessel in distress. We should move quickly. Our intelligence suggests Cathar patrols are actively searching this sector." As the Earth vessels moved into formation around the Stardust Drifter, Kalen couldn't help but be impressed by their efficiency. Human ships had a reputation for being technologically unrefined compared to those of older spacefaring species, but these vessels moved with precision and purpose. "They're running with minimal energy signatures," Nax observed quietly. "Advanced stealth protocols. Not what I expected from human military technology." Alex smiled slightly. "We've learned to be creative with our limitations." Over the next several days, As they traveled deeper into a remote star system designated only as DS-317, Kalen found himself working closely with Commander Shepard and her tactical team. The humans' approach to space combat was fundamentally different from the methodical, defensive posture favored by Xylosians. They emphasized rapid strikes, unpredictable maneuvers, and adaptive strategies rather than overwhelming firepower. Your ship isn't built for combat, Shepard explained during a tactical briefing. But with some modifications, it could serve as an effective support vessel. Your advanced sensor array gives you better long-range detection capabilities than any of our ships. I should remind you, Kalen said carefully, that neither I nor my crew have been trained for military operations. Shepard nodded. We're not asking you to fight, Commander, just to watch our backs and provide early warning. Dr. Ryder has already been helping our technical team integrate some of his research into our defensive systems. Without the complete prototype, Alex clarified, seeing Kalen's concerned expression. Just enough to give us an edge if we encounter Cthar forces. The integration of the two crews wasn't without friction. The humans' directness often came across as rudeness to the Xylosians, while the Xylosians' careful deliberation frustrated the humans' desire for quick decisions. Yet as days passed, a grudging respect developed between them. Alex often served as an intermediary, explaining cultural nuances to both sides and helping to smooth misunderstandings. Kalen noted how different the human seemed now. Confident, focused, no longer the bumbling archaeologist act he had initially presented. One evening, as they reviewed sensor data together, Kalen asked, "Why did you choose this life, Dr. Ryder? Developing weapons, becoming a target?" Alex was quiet for a moment. "I never set out to create weapons. My research was about protection, finding ways to prevent attacks before they happened. But I've learned that in our galaxy, anything that can defend can also be turned to offense." The human looked at Kalen directly. "Not unlike your decision to rescue me." An act of compassion that turned into an act of defiance. Before Kalen could respond, a priority alert sounded throughout the ship. They rushed to the bridge to find Nax and Shepard already reviewing tactical displays. Multiple Cthar signatures detected, Nax reported. A full battle group, at least 3 heavy cruisers and multiple support vessels. "They found us," Shepard said grimly, "and they've brought enough firepower to make their intentions clear." Veldon, who had been increasingly withdrawn since Earth's intervention, spoke up. "We should open communications. Explain that we're willing to negotiate terms." "The Cthar don't negotiate when they hold the advantage," Shepard cut in. "And with that battle group, they definitely hold the advantage." "Then what do you suggest?" Kalen asked. "We can't outrun them, and we certainly can't outfight them." Alex had been studying the star charts of the system. "We don't need to do either. We just need to reach the Tiberius Nebula." He pointed to a dense gas cloud approximately 2 hours away at maximum speed. "If we can make it there, I think we can turn this situation to our advantage." "The Tiberius Nebula is a navigational hazard," Selen protested. "The gas concentrations would interfere with our sensors and shields." "Exactly," Alex said. "It would affect the Cthar ships the same way." "But," he glanced at Shepard, who nodded in understanding. "But Dr. Ryder's cloaking technology was specifically designed to function in environments that disrupt conventional sensors," Shepard finished. "If we can reach the nebula, our ships can deploy the prototype systems while the Cthar are blind." "You want to test experimental technology in the middle of a battle?" Veldon asked incredulously. "Not ideal," Alex admitted, "but we're out of better options." Kalen made his decision. "Set course for the Tiberius Nebula. Maximum sustainable speed. Commander Shepard, I suggest your faster vessels take a defensive position between us and the Cthar fleet." "Already on it," Shepard replied. "We'll buy you as much time as we can." What followed was the most harrowing flight of Kalen's career. The Earth vessels executed a series of daring maneuvers, launching precision strikes against the Cthar fleet's forward elements while the Stardust Drifter pushed its engines to their limits. The Cthar, seemingly surprised by the humans' aggressive tactics, temporarily slowed their advance. "They're recalibrating their approach," Shepard explained via comm link as her ship rejoined the formation. They're not used to smaller vessels standing their ground against a battle group. It's buying us time, but they'll adjust quickly. As they approached the swirling gases of the Tiberius Nebula, Alex worked frantically with a combined team of Earth and Xylosian engineers to implement a rudimentary version of his cloaking system across all their ships. It's not perfect, he warned as they entered the nebula's outer boundaries. The full prototype would make us genuinely invisible to all known sensor types. This version will just scramble their targeting systems and mask our energy signatures. We'll still be vulnerable to visual detection at close range. Then we'll have to make sure they don't get close, Shepard replied grimly. Everyone, prepare for nebula insertion on my mark. The multicolor gases of the nebula enveloped their small fleet, reducing visibility to almost nothing. As predicted, their sensors immediately began to malfunction, showing ghostly echoes and false readings. Thar fleet is continuing pursuit, Nax reported. They're proceeding cautiously, but they're definitely following us in. Alex activated the makeshift cloaking system. The lights on the bridge dimmed momentarily as power was redirected. System active, he announced. Our energy signature should be masked now, but remember, this is a prototype. It won't last indefinitely. The next few hours were a tense game of cat and mouse within the nebula. The Cathar ships prowled through the gases, occasionally firing blindly when their sensors detected something that might be a ship. The Earth-Xylosian fleet scattered, using the nebula's dense pockets to hide, while Alex's technology masked their presence. During a moment of relative calm, Shepard contacted the Stardust Drifter with an unexpected proposal. We've been defensive long enough, she said. I think it's time we change the equation. What do you have in mind? Kalen asked cautiously. Intelligence reports indicated there might be a Cathar research facility in this system. That's probably why they responded so quickly to our presence. If we could locate and neutralize it, we'd both strike a blow against their weapons development and create a distraction that might allow us to escape. With all due respect, Commander, Veldon interjected, that sounds like an escalation of hostilities, not an escape plan. It's both, Shepard replied evenly. The Cathar respond to strength. If we can show them that pursuing us comes at a cost, they'll be more likely to reconsider this hunt. Kalen considered the proposal. It was risky, aggressive, everything that Xylosian tactical doctrine advised against. But their situation was already desperate. What would you need from us? He asked finally. Your sensor array is more advanced than anything we have, Shepard explained. Even with the nebula's interference, you might be able to pinpoint the facility's location. And the Stardust Drifter's civilian configuration might let you get closer without triggering their defensive protocols. You want us to act as a scout, Kalen said, understanding. And potentially as a diversion, Shepard admitted. While we prepare a strike team, Kalen looked around at his crew. They were exhausted, afraid, far from home, and yet they had followed him this far. The decision is not mine alone, he said. Not anymore. To his surprise, it was Veldon who spoke first. We're already considered rogues by high command. If we're going to face a tribunal anyway, we might as well make it worth the effort. One by one, the other officers nodded their agreement. Despite everything, they had come to share Kalen's determination to see this through. Very well, Kalen told Shepard. We'll begin scanning for the facility immediately. But I want to be clear, my crew are not soldiers. We will assist with reconnaissance, but the actual strike must be handled by your forces. Understood, Shepard replied with a respectful nod. And Commander Var, thank you. Using the Stardust Drifter's enhanced sensors, carefully calibrated by Alex to penetrate the nebula's interference, they located the Cathar facility within hours, a massive installation built into a small moon orbiting the system's outermost gas giant. It's heavily shielded, Alex reported, studying the sensor data, but there are regular energy fluctuations consistent with transport vessels coming and going. If we time it right, we might be able to slip in during one of those moments when they lower the shields for arrivals. The plan they developed was audacious. The Stardust Drifter would approach the facility disguised as a damaged merchant vessel seeking emergency repairs, a common enough occurrence in remote systems. Meanwhile, Earth commandos would deploy in stealth shuttles, using the Drifter's approach as cover to infiltrate the facility. The objective is the facility's database, Shepard explained during the final briefing. We need to extract whatever information we can about Cathar weapons development and then plant charges to disable, not destroy, their research capabilities. Why not destroy it completely? Nax asked. Because we're not at war with civilian scientists, Shepard replied firmly. Our quarrel is with the Cathar military and leadership, not with researchers who may have little choice in their assignments. Kalen found himself respecting the human commander's principles. Despite Earth's aggressive response to the situation, they still maintained limits on their actions. As the Stardust Drifter approached the Cathar facility, Kalen stood on the bridge, projecting a calm he didn't entirely feel. Everything depended on the next few hours. Entering communications range, Tyrell announced. Begin transmission, Kalen ordered. Remember, we're a damaged merchant vessel, seeking emergency assistance. Keep it simple, keep it believable. The Cathar facility responded with predictable suspicion, demanding identification codes and cargo manifests. Kalen provided the carefully fabricated documentation prepared by Earth intelligence. Our primary environmental systems are failing, he told the Cathar controller, allowing genuine stress to color his voice. We have injured crew members. Please, we require immediate docking clearance. For several tense moments, there was silence. Then, clearance granted for emergency docking at Base 7. Prepare for security inspection upon arrival. As the Stardust Drifter approached the designated bay, the facility's shields parted to allow them entry. And with them, the invisible Earth shuttles slipped through, their presence masked by Alex's prototype technology and the Drifter's larger sensor profile. Phase 1 complete, Kalen murmured as they docked. Now comes the difficult part. While Kalen and a small delegation of officers kept the Cathar security team occupied with inspection procedures and repair requests, the Earth commandos infiltrated the facility's research levels. Alex, wearing a modified environment suit that would temporarily mask his human life signs, accompanied them to identify and secure the most valuable research data. Cathar security is growing suspicious, Veldon reported quietly through their secure comm channel. They're requesting permission to conduct a full bioscan of our vessel. Stall them, Kalen replied. Tell them we have sensitive cargo that requires specific handling protocols. I've already used that excuse, sir. They're insistent. Kalen thought quickly. Inform them that we have unregistered crystalline artifacts in Cargo Bay 3. That should give them pause. Even Cathar aren't eager to deal with potential precursor technology without specialists present. The mention of crystalline artifacts, rare and potentially dangerous relics of an ancient civilization, had the desired effect. The Cathar security officers immediately called for a supervisor, buying precious additional minutes. Meanwhile, deep within the facility, the Earth team was completing their mission. Alex's voice came through Kalen's private comm channel, tense but triumphant. We've secured the data. The charges are set. Heading back to extraction point now. But their luck couldn't hold forever. As the Earth team began their withdrawal, alarms suddenly blared throughout the facility. Intruder alert. Security breach in Research Sector 7. The Cathar security team in the docking bay immediately surrounded Kalen and his officers, weapons drawn. You were a distraction, the security leader hissed, scales flaring with anger. A deception to allow infiltrators access to restricted areas. I don't know what you're talking about, Kalen replied evenly. We are a merchant vessel in distress, nothing more. The standoff might have ended in bloodshed, if not for the first explosion. The charges planted by the Earth commandos began to detonate in sequence, not destroying the facility, but causing carefully targeted systems failures that sent Cathar personnel scrambling to contain the damage. In the confusion, Kalen and his team managed to fight their way back to the Stardust Drifter. They sealed the airlock just as the Earth commandos arrived, pursued by Cathar security forces. Everyone aboard? Kalen demanded as weapons fire peppered the hull around the airlock. All present, Shepard confirmed, removing her tactical helmet. Dr. Ryder took a minor injury, but is stable. Disengage docking clamps, Kalen ordered. Full thrust as soon as we're clear. The Stardust drifter tore free from the docking bay, its engines straining as it accelerated away from the facility. Behind them, secondary explosions continued to bloom as the Earth team's charges disrupted power systems throughout the installation. Thar vessels are breaking off pursuit of our fleet in the nebula, Nax reported. They're responding to the facility's distress calls. That gives us our window, Shepard said. All ships rendezvous at the designated coordinates for immediate jump out of this system. As they rejoined the Earth fleet and prepared for faster-than-light travel, Kalen visited Alex in the medical bay. The human was sitting up, a bandage on one arm, examining data on a portable display. It was worth it, Alex said before Kalen could speak. Look at this. The display showed technical specifications for a weapon system unlike anything Kalen had seen before, a planet killer that could render a world uninhabitable without destroying its physical resources. They were planning to test it within the year, Alex said quietly, and Earth was on the list of potential demonstration targets. Kalen felt a cold certainty settle over him. Whatever doubts he might have had about their actions, this discovery eliminated them. The Kthar hadn't just been pursuing a stolen technology. They had been preparing for a war of conquest. The Alliance needs to see this, he said. Alex nodded. Earth will present it as evidence at the next assembly meeting. This changes everything, Kalen. And indeed it did. In the days that followed, as they made their way to Earth space under the protection of an expanded human fleet, reports came in of diplomatic shockwaves spreading throughout the Alliance. The Kthar Empire, faced with the exposure of their secret weapons program, found themselves diplomatically isolated. Even their traditional allies distanced themselves, unwilling to be associated with planet-killing technology. Earth's limited war gained unexpected legitimacy as evidence of Kthar aggression mounted. What had begun as a desperate rescue operation had uncovered a plot that threatened galactic stability. The humans, once dismissed as upstarts, were now being cautiously reassessed by older powers. For Kalen and the crew of the Stardust Drifter, the future remained uncertain. A message arrived from Xylosian High Command, somewhat less condemnatory than before. While they were still ordered to return for a formal inquiry, the tone suggested that complete disgrace might no longer be inevitable. On the last night, before they would part ways with the Earth fleet, Commander Shepard hosted a small gathering for the key personnel from both groups. I won't pretend this is the end of the conflict with the Kthar, she said, raising a glass in toast. But you've helped us change the nature of that conflict. Instead of a war between Earth and the Empire, it's now a matter of galactic security. And for that, we owe you our gratitude. Kalen acknowledged the toast with a traditional Xylosian gesture of respect. We did what was necessary. No more, no less. That's the thing about necessity, Alex said, smiling slightly. It has a way of revealing character. You could have handed me over to the Kthar and continued your patrol without incident. Instead, you chose to uphold a principle, that those you rescue deserve protection. A rather costly principle, as it turned out, Kalen replied dryly. Perhaps, Shepard agreed. But principles that cost nothing aren't worth much, are they? Later, as the gathering wound down, Kalen found himself standing with Alex near a viewport, watching the stars. What will you do now? The human asked. Face the consequences of my decisions, Kalen replied simply. Whatever they may be. And if they offer you another command? Kalen's antennae twitched in what humans might have recognized as a smile. I suspect my days of routine border patrols are behind me. Perhaps there's a place for someone with experience in unconventional diplomacy. Alex laughed. Is that what we're calling it? What would you call it? I'd call it the beginning of something new, Alex said thoughtfully. Earth won't forget what you did, Kalen. Neither will I. And in a galaxy where old powers are set in their ways, sometimes it takes an unexpected alliance to change the course of history. A rather grandiose assessment of one small ship's adventures, Kalen observed. Maybe, Alex conceded. Or maybe you underestimate the impact of one decision, made for the right reasons, at exactly the right moment. As the Stardust Drifter prepared to set course for Xylosian space the next day, Kalen took one last look at the Earth vessels that had fought alongside them. They were preparing for their own journey, to continue the limited war they had declared, to protect their interests against Cthar aggression, and perhaps to establish themselves as a power worthy of respect in galactic affairs. Whatever happened next, Kalen knew that neither he nor his crew would ever see the universe quite the same way again. They had set out as merchants and found themselves reluctant warriors in a conflict not of their choosing. They had rescued one human and found themselves fighting alongside an entire species. And somehow, against all logic and probability, they had survived to tell the tale. As the stars stretched into lines of light around them, marking the beginning of their journey home, Kalen thought about the strange sequence of events that had led them here. One small act of compassion, spiraling outward into consequences no one could have predicted. You save a human? Congratulations. Earth just won a war for you. It seemed absurd put that way. And yet, Kalen couldn't bring himself to regret it. In a galaxy where ancient powers played their careful, calculated games, perhaps what was needed was exactly this kind of unpredictability, the kind that came from following principles rather than protocols, from valuing lives over regulations. Perhaps, just perhaps, that was a lesson worth the price they had paid to learn it.